Georgia guard Silas Demary Jr. is in the portal, and he is sure to be a highly sought-after prospect. The 6'5 sophomore from Raleigh had a really fantastic year, averaging over 13 points, almost 4 rebounds, and 3 assists a game. Now, he has some strengths and weaknesses to his game. Today, we're going to break down the film, see where he excels, where he needs to get better, and explore what type of impact he's going to have at his next school. So stay tuned. Today, we're breaking down the game of Silas Demary Jr. Let's kick this off by talking about one of his biggest strengths, and that's his ability to knock down, catch, and shoot shots. Statistically, Silas Demary was a really good shooter, from all aspects of the perimeter on a catch-and-shoot basis. So when you look at the statistics behind this, just in catch-and-shoot situations, when he was guarded, he was still shooting around 40% on catch-and-shoot looks from three. When he was unguarded, that number goes all the way up to 46%. And overall, that number sits at 42% for the year. That's really impressive. That's really a sign of a great shooter to be able to shoot that high of a percent on a pretty decent volume. Now, I will say that's the one thing that's clouded in this is as the primary ball handler, he wasn't getting as many catch and shoot looks as, a traditional shooter who's running baseline to baseline would. However, I think this shows a lot of potential to fit within any offense that he goes to. It doesn't pigeonhole him into being only a primary ball handler. So when you look at potential fits for Silas and where he could go, he's going to bring a lot to the table, and he's going to be somebody who fits in and is able to hit down jump shots when he gets a catch and shoot look. Next, let's take a look at an area he needs to improve on, and that's his ability to shoot the ball off the dribble. Now, in all fairness, this aspect of his game was really a bit of a mixed bag last year. So he had moments where he knocked down shots and he was able to get to a spot, and when he's decisive, he looks pretty good. On the whole, however, he did not, have a very efficient time shooting the ball off the dribble. So when you look at the stats, he was really bad on pull-up twos. So long twos were something he did somewhat regularly, and he shot only 27.4% for the year. On off-the-dribble threes, he wasn't all that bad, actually. He was about 33% for the year. So higher difficulty shots, he's not as efficient of a shooter, but you can live with those numbers. I will say, looking at the film of dribble jumpers for him, when he's decisive, one or two dribbles and getting to his spot and rising up, he actually looks pretty good. But when he gets stuck or is making too many things happen, it can be a little bit of a struggle for him. Next, let's talk about another offensive strength of his, and that's his ability to read the court and make the right pass. One thing I really liked when watching Demary's tape is his ability to really push the ball and make the right read. So he's good at getting a paint touch and then deciding whether he has to kick it out to the perimeter, dump it off to a big. He can really read a lot of those areas well. He's also really smart about getting the pass off at the right angle and with the right kind of touch over top. So you'll see him make entry passes to bigs where he's throwing it over into space and they're able to go up and get it, which is really awesome. He's also really good at drawing defense's attention. Like, he's able to kind of control his pace, make the defense react to him, and then put a ball in a spot where a guy can make a play, whether that's as a shooter, as a roller. He's really effective in the pick and roll at just navigating the defense and taking what they give him and making them pay for it. So I like that aspect in a true kind of primary ball handler, and I think that's where he's going to excel wherever he ends up. On the flip side, he did have a weakness with it being a little loose and careless with the basketball, and I want to go into that a little bit. While Demary did lead the team far and away in assists, he also more than doubled the closest person as far as turnovers go. And I attribute a lot of that just to being careless with the basketball. You're going to see in a lot of these clips, he either picks his dribble up needlessly and tries to throw like a soft pass that's going to get deflected 9 times out of 10, or, he just kind of makes a careless decision and nonchalantly swings the ball across the court. Now, luckily for whoever picks him up, these are all easily correctable things, and something that he should and needs to fix on the next level. The last part of his offensive game that I want to talk about is his ability to finish at the rim. And in all honesty, last year it was kind of a mixed bag. So at the rim, he statistically wasn't all that great last year. And I think that's not too uncommon for a young guard. And the reason that I attribute this to is he kind of makes his mind up of what he wants to do before he, even makes the first dribble. Like if he's decided I'm going to go up with this shot, he's just going to try to get it up. When in reality, he should be reading the defense and deciding what to do. So you'll see when, he's able to fully get past and get past the help, he can finish at a really high clip. But if a guy's walling up and really daring you to go over top of him, sometimes you just have to make the decision to read that and kick it out, like he kind of would in a ball handler situation like we talked about earlier. So I think it's an area of growth for him. Like I said, it's not an uncommon thing. It's just something he needs to do a better job of reading and reacting instead of making decisions. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, I want to talk about what I think is his biggest strength, and that's just the active hands that he has on defense. So I really like him both as an on-ball and an off-ball defender. So I'll start off with off the ball. He's really adept at sitting down deep enough in the passing lane to be able to provide help, but also not too deep to where he can't make a play on the ball and get out in transition. You'll see it several times throughout this. He's kind of baiting a pass, is able to get in, get a hand on it, and go the other way. And on the ball, he does have active hands. If the ball handler flashes the ball in front or tries to cross in front of them, he's going to be able to get a hand on it or at least get a tip, possibly get a steal. I love that. Love him as an on-ball defender for sure. Lastly, I want to talk about him as a pick and roll defender. I think this is a really big strength of his. So just so you know, not all of these clips are going to result in stops, but it shows how good, in my opinion, of a pick and roll defender he is. He's really good at chasing over the top, beating his man to the spot and forcing a contested jumper. Whether they make it or not, you can't necessarily control that, but he can make the shot very difficult. He's also pretty skilled, it looked like, at icing on the sidelines when he needs to and keeping that ball on one side of the court. But I like, he kind of tries to blow that screen up by going over top of it, chasing really hard and letting his big man get back. Also, there's examples of him kind of allowing the switch when he needs to. He sticks with the big man, but all in all, it's a quick decision he's able to make and make the defense work and make a decision and try to score a contested shot either way. So what are my final thoughts on Silas Demary Jr.? I think he is going to be an excellent addition wherever he ends up. He brings something to every facet of the game. He's a threat from the perimeter. He makes the defense honor the spacing that you're trying to create in modern basketball. As a primary ball handler, he's capable of making really high-level decisions and really high-level reads as long as he cleans up some of those careless mistakes that we talked about. I think at the rim, he can be an asset, again, as long as that decision-making improves just a little bit. On defense, I think he has the traits of a plus defender that makes the life of the opposing team's primary ball handler difficult, while at the same time being able to be smart enough off the ball to put yourself in a position to make a play. So to me, he screams, centerpiece kind of engine of a really high caliber team that makes a deep run. So I'd love to see where he ends up. Curious to see that. He has a lot of the top teams on him. We'll see where he goes over the next couple of weeks. I really appreciate you watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. Would love to hear what you thought, where maybe my misses were. But thanks again. We'll have a lot more of these up as the transfer portal season keeps going. See you on the next one.